A wanted fugitive surrendered to Audrain County deputies this morning after a standoff overnight. Good evening, I'm Madeline Odell.
And I'm Mike Carlson. Deputies found 38-year-old Shane Kirpash at a motel in Mexico on South Clark Street and asked him to surrender around 5 a.m., receiving no response. Kirpash had an active probation parole warrant out of Osage County and was considered armed and dangerous. Kirpash exited his room 5 hours later and surrendered. Deputies also arrested a woman in connection to this case. The two will face drug charges, hindering prosecution, resisting arrest, identity theft charges in Audrain County, as well as the original Osage County warrants. One man died early this morning after a head-on car crash in Manitowoc County. 27-year-old Joshua Blankenship's car crossed the center line on US 50, hitting 20-year-old Graydon Lovelace head-on. Shortly afterward, both cars caught fire. Lovelace was pronounced dead at the scene, and Blankenship was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Kansas City police are investigating the shooting deaths of two children. Police say officers were called earlier this morning to a home on a reported shooting and found 3 juvenile victims. An 8-year-old and a 9-year-old were declared dead at the hospital. The third victim, a 16-year-old, had non-life-threatening injuries and is expected to recover. Family members say the children were cousins. No word if the adults were inside the home at the time of the shooting. Police say they have no suspect information at this time. A construction worker has died after being electrocuted at a Kansas work site. Authorities say 38-year-old Daryl Harden of Kansas City died Friday after suffering fatal injuries when the lift truck he was operating came into contact with overhead power lines. Emergency crews took him to a hospital where he was later pronounced dead. The Federal Occupation Safety and Health Administration says it's investigating the incident. Businesses aren't the only ones dealing with the stress of back-to-school time. The start of a new school year means move-in day for college students across the nation. Now, it's no secret moving in is one of the most stressful activities, and college move-in day is still no exception. Still, despite the extra stress and work associated with moving in, there are ways to make move-in day run a bit smoother. One expert recommends moving in during the afternoon because it is usually the least busiest time of day. It was also recommended to bring the heavier stuff in first and save the lighter stuff for later in the move. Finally, it was suggested to bring some kind of help like parents on move-in day to make things run efficiently and to keep an eye on the necessities.
I would say just stay organized. You got to make sure that you have your necessities, have them in a box that you actually know where it is, because everybody just starts throwing things in boxes. So it's pretty important to make sure that, yes, you do want to do it quickly, but make sure you know where some of your stuff is.
According to one website, move-in don'ts included bringing large furniture, bringing any winter gear, and overpacking. Across Columbia, students have already begun moving in, and tomorrow will mark the start of the move-in process for residential halls on the MU campus. The United States is building a mountain of gold in Rio, crushing China, Great Britain, and Japan in the medal counts. It's the last day of the swimming events and a momentous night for Michael Phelps, who wants to end his career a champion. Brian Moore has us covered from Rio. Moore says he spoke with gold medalist Maya Diridow today, who says she's getting a lot of pressure to continue her swimming career, but she insists it's one and done. Russia's only track and field athlete at the Rio Olympics has been suspended from the games. Daria Klishnia is a long jumper who was allowed to compete after appealing to the international track and field governing body. She was the only one of 136 Russians who appealed who got the green light to compete in Rio. The suspension was based on new information received by the governing body. The rest of the Russian track and field team was barred from the Rio Games after a report described what the World Anti-Doping Agency said was systematically doping.
The Cardinals are back in action today, looking to snap the Cubs' 11-game win streak.
Find out in sports if the Cards' late comeback bid was enough.